Welcome to Podcast This Escape, the podcast where we talk about the escape room that we escaped from in the previous episode of this podcast. Gemma, we escaped your room!
Big finale.
Big finale?
You did. Excellent work. Well done.
And as typically happens, you came in, I always do this, you came in saying, I'm worried it's going to be too easy.
It was not.
And now we made it work just fine.
I was a bit worried. It's a very linear game, so I was worried that you guys would just sail through it so super quick. But luckily, you got a bit hung up on a few things. So that was
stupid pigmen. I didn't expect pigmen to show up in the room, but so there are a few points in there where I sort of wondered, oh no, is this a natural progression, or is Gemma taking pity on us and giving us things a little earlier?
No, I didn't do that at all.
Ah, wow.
No. So you did it. It was
mostly for me and things that were happening to me in the box.
I gotta say, and just in terms of like size, and I know this is purely coincidental, all right, and not like an intended thing on your end, but I kind of love that like we started this season and it's like, you know, the rooms start, you know, we had like these sort of prison things, they got a bit bigger, we got these multi-room things, and then we had carnival, multiple attractions, huge thing like with Ferris wheels and things like that, and then we had like a big spy epic with multiple kind of locations on a boat, and then we had this like big literary thing with like this huge amount of items and objects and multiple rooms in a little house. And I kind of then love that we get to the final room and it's just like there is one box
and one tree.
And it was this sudden like,
nice.
oh my god, like, and it was just this like pure sort of thing, and I really love it as the final room or the final guest room. Is this, it kind of, it's like this big build up and then it just goes, and there you are. Now, get rid of all the extra stuff. Like, don't worry about it. That's all. We don't need any of that. We just need one tree, one box.
It is really impressive
and
how many things you made us able to do with 3 objects.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Oh, brilliant. I didn't really kind of think of it like that. I know that I would get really confused if there was too much. I remember listening to the room that Tommy Honton did for you, and I was just like mind blown.
The biggest of all rooms.
I could not keep track of all that stuff. I just couldn't. So
yes, you say the room that Tommy ran for us. It was the 3-hour sci-fi script that we were part of for an episode
that we made happen.
Fantastic, but yes, it was
like calling it a script makes it sound like he railroaded us through it, but no, we made it.
Yeah, the sci-fi audio drama we all made together.
Yeah.
But no, it was I liked this sort of like my map is literally myself, a tree, and a box, and that's it. So what was the, like you said, it was quite linear, and thinking back, it was. So what is the flow of this room? Like if we sort of broke it down now, what the very first thing we can do is Danny has no options, and I have tree exploration options.
Yeah.
You can use my spider knowledge to help you with
spider knowledge.
So that's my contribution at the start.
Yeah, so the first couple of things that you can do are getting rid of the spider and finding the piece of paper, and also
and getting it out of my pocket as well, I suppose.
Yeah, and also looking at yourself and finding the piece of paper in your pocket. So then the
pocket paper, I suppose, doesn't go anywhere until we get the pigment is required to reveal what is desired.
That's right.
That's what until then, pocket paper doesn't matter if you found it. It's gated straight away.
Yep. So I need a bit more freedom before we get that.
Yeah.
Which is good. I like this idea of you have several things that you can mess with in little ways out there, but you need. I am the gatekeeper, and you have to unlock me. That's a fun way of doing that.
Yeah, that was kind of unintentional actually, but yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, so then you can get then it does that's kind of the only thing that you can do, like 2 things at once, like where you can find the pocket paper whenever. But otherwise,
but the spider paper didn't get us anything, did it? Because we needed to get the pocket paper and combine them later on. So what was the first thing that we did that we unlocked?
The flowers.
Oh, the flowers. We had the flower colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like the kind of the opening point. which frees your left leg, which lets us deal with a woodpecker.
That took me a while to get that
to
done.
actually try and use your left leg.
Foolish.
The
Very foolish of
woodpecker
me.
gets us
the directional lock, which is my left hand, which gives
gets
me a
you
bit
pigment
more freedom.
is required. Then we can use the spider paper and the other paper.
That got me most of the shapes.
Which got you most of the shapes. We had to then do a little extra search of what had happened with the box to get the final shape. No, to get the key.
No, yeah, we needed the cockroaches for the key.
Yep. Yeah, so that is so basically you hit an end point where there's nothing that you can do. Once you've got rid of the spider, there's nothing that you can do after that. So then I have to come in with more narrative and say that there's cockroaches in the box tickling your feet. Otherwise, the game would just stop there.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. And
sorry,
I like the idea.
Sorry, yeah, not after the spider, after the shapes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of like the idea of saying, oh no, there is now a way in, and we can reason that as saying, cool, we've made some gaps now by the chains that we've released so far. So that was nice. It did still feel, even though it was like GM intervention, it was because of something that we'd done. It felt appropriate that way.
Yeah. That's good.
That was nice. Yeah. Apart from drawing a very evil spider, and I'm so impressed with my cockroach. I really like it. It looks artistic. It doesn't look frightening, but it's still definitely a cockroach. Beyond that, looking at favorite puzzles, I quite like the woodpecker one.
I like that because it's a good way to translate something new to directions. Because that's often a thing with directional locks, that it can be hard to hide directions.
Yeah, for
They are
sure.
so often just like you find arrows somewhere, or you find a shape that you want to trace, or you find like even when people hide them, they often hide them kind of explicitly as directions. You know, like it's a follow this map from point A to point B, and then realize you put in the directions that you're following.
Yeah. Whereas for this one, you don't even need to ever say the words up, down, left, right to make it work if you don't want to.
No, it's
like because
the
it's just
top
the
of
box. Yeah, you can say the lid
box.
of the box, the bottom, and just the side.
The side where your
because
foot is, that
we already know that it's my left
and
foot.
you know you can't get right. Like I kind of love that as a translation of like a sound clue and environment clue into then a directional lock, because they're often hard to make fit. That was very fun. Was there a puzzle that you, or a part of this room that you enjoyed when like I know you designed this room like 2 years ago, so I don't know how much you remember about writing it. But was there something that you liked when you put it together, when you wrote it?
Do you have a shiny favorite?
I just really, so my inspiration, which you may have guessed, was the Saw films for this room, and I just kind of wanted to make, and also 2 years ago you hadn't done a scary or a horror room, so I just set out.
We've still only basically done one.
I set out just trying to do something that you hadn't done before, and also I think back then as well you hadn't had character knowledge before the game as well, so
I like that element. Even then, if we have done it, it's quite rare. I like that. Yeah. I like bringing in a skill.
Yeah, so I like that. I like the fact that you're separated, and I like the horror aspects. So those were what I was trying to bring to the game, rather than the individual puzzles themselves.
Yeah, that's fair. I was very nervous at the idea of us being separated. Like, as soon as you said, can I give you messages give you images and things separately? That made me. That always worries me. I'm always afraid of that. I know it's so good. It's my favorite thing in actual escape rooms. Things that are mandated teamwork. I really love those. But yeah, in one of these, it scares me. That's a lot of pressure. Everyone matters. Oh my god.
So there was something funny that happened right at the beginning. In that when you were inside the box, Danny, I can call you Danny now, can't I? And you were saying, how's my air and stuff, and that's not even something that's come up, and it's not something I even thought about. So I had to kind of think of that on the fly. But then Bill was just like, "Oh yeah, well, you've got an hour's worth of air," and I was like, "Well, he's just improved my game. Like in the first 5 minutes, he's come up with something that was a really good idea."
And then I proceeded to ruin the game for the rest of it.
So yeah, I hadn't even considered that.
So if you remember, do you remember what it was like coming up with this and like how you formed this room?
No,
Like,
not
what
really.
your starting points were?
Sorry.
Well, actually,
no, not really.
You have a different perspective of this than most people do writing the rooms, and that we very rarely do. But we've been doing for our Patreon donors this season, we've been doing like a retrospective on our very first season, right? Looking at our old rooms. And there's something interesting about looking at an old room and coming back to it years later and thinking, oh, here's what it's like, here's what I would change. Have you had anything with this? Like, you wrote this 2.5 years ago, and then you've come back to it just recently, you've looked at it again to run on the show. Is there anything that you thought, looking at it, that you thought, oh, I would change that if I was doing this now?
Or anything that you went, oh man, did I write that? Good on me.
Yeah. Is there anything like coming back to it after a while that when you ran through it, you thought, oh, that's interesting, or that's cool, or that's silly, or
Yeah, so
if you wrote this today, would you write it the same?
Yeah, I tweaked a few things. I think if I had more time, I've been quite busy over the last couple of weeks, so I haven't really.
For some
You
reason.
haven't spent the whole 2.5 years just doing this room?
Well, since I knew that you guys wanted me to GM this room for you, it's only been a couple of weeks, and I haven't had that much time. So when I got to it only last night, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, that the counting the coloured plants, that's so easy, and I would definitely try and make that more difficult. And then also, I really liked the direction, like with you, with the sounds. I like that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful little.
But one thing that I did change on the fly was the herbs, and that is because, so I had told Danny, wasn't it, that you knew that spiders don't like citrus, mint, and eucalyptus. And originally, I had all three of those on the tree or at the base of the tree. So you could literally use any of them. So then I thought, actually, what I'm going to do is make it so that you can only use one of them. So it just gives a tiny bit of extra thought.
It makes it a solution rather than like a whole bunch of stuff, because you feel like you hadn't finished the puzzle yet.
Yeah, if I had all three, I might go, oh no, what do I have to do with these three things to make it right?
Yeah, that hadn't happened during any of the playtests. They were just like, oh, just grab them all and shove them all in the hole, and so it worked. But I'm actually glad that I did change that just for you guys, because I think it would have made it more complicated.
Also, I don't know how intentional was it that when we just got the spider note, so the first bit of front, that it does look just enough like numbers or letters to throw us off. But then once we get the second piece, we go, oh, okay, I understand what we're supposed to be doing now. It was tantalizing. Stupid nils or 2771U.
That was not intentional at all. That is something only you guys.
Everyone makes their own red herrings.
Yeah, and I also just wanted to just explain why it says front, and it's because if you were physically playing this, I'd have the piece of paper. You would have the actual piece of paper, which is what I'm holding up here. So
that makes
the
sure
word
that we don't
front,
rotate
just
it.
make sure that you have it in the right. The right.
By the time we had the second one, that was absolutely what I was thinking that it was there for.
Yeah, what you would do in an ideal world is just put one of the pieces on top of the other and then look through it, and you could see the numbers.
Of course, that makes sense. Yeah, because they would actually line up properly.
Yeah, and I thought, shall I send it to you and say you need to print this? And then I thought, no, because then you're going to see it before you do it, and so I figured you'd be able to work it out.
And we don't have a printer.
Yeah.
We do, but it has no ink in it. And ink is expensive and hard to find.
Ink's more expensive than printers.
How do you know what ink you need? I don't know.
Yeah, you got to check serial numbers. Yeah, so thinking about that other element, right? You're saying you're kind of not super happy with the count the flowers in terms of its difficulty. What now would, like, we can chat for a second. What would you do if you wanted to make it more of a puzzle? In terms of counting
they obviously
flowers?
like, color association, still good.
Yeah. There is one thing to me that is an element you could play with.
No.
Classic thing we're dealing with colors. Right? We've got like red and we have blue as options. You could have purple flowers.
Mate, I see.
And then maybe you have to double count the purple flowers in the reds and the blues, or maybe you I wouldn't know exactly. It's hard because it's a bit hard to interpret what purple would mean in this context, but maybe there's something like that. You'd be like, well, that's blue and red, so it counts as one blue and one red. Or things like that. you could possibly play with, right? Color mixing, color matching.
I think that could work. I think that's a good idea to think about. That's interesting. It's hard. You've got to make sure you've got enough colors so that it's not like all mixes, because that'll be confusing. Like if it was just orange, purple, green.
Oh, that'd be too much.
Yeah.
You maybe do one mixed color.
Yeah.
And that's the puzzle. Like that's like I can't just count the flowers. I have to do one step. Maybe. Is there anything else that you would think of? That you could do a different
Any
thing?
other thoughts?
Like, do you think if you're writing it, you'd have something different?
Yeah, I kind of think like sometimes with those, and this is what I did with the shapes actually. So you don't get all of the information straight away.
Yeah.
So you could think that those are the only flowers, but then you find a couple of other flowers somewhere else.
What if they'd set me up to look like I was in a grave, a coffin, so they'd given me a bouquet of flowers to go with it.
Yeah, something like that. Bouquet of flowers for the coffin.
I don't know how we would ever manage to see it, but it's a fun image.
But even if it wasn't for you, even if it was still on the outside, even if you had the idea of like, there's the coffin, and you know it's a coffin because there's a bouquet
of flowers on top of it.
There's a headstone next to it that says, "Here lies Elle," and a bouquet of flowers.
You don't want a gravestone. That's a lot. That's a bit much. That looks like a clue.
Yeah, but there's a bouquet of flowers, and then you describe the other flowers, and it's up to the player to think, wait a minute, wasn't there also more flowers? That's a great idea. I like that. And then that's the puzzle. It's still just to count the colors, but the puzzle is realizing that you have two aspects that are
sinister
flowers.
Teamwork.
And and it's also a fun. It allows you to play with the narrative. It allows you to add more of like you could the feeling of this is like an evil, creepy person.
That's funny.
Is,
so yeah,
that's a good.
That
idea.
could
like
definitely be a thing of just like, putting some flowers somewhere else. Apparently, that.
My other thought was you could have like a bird's nest and there are flowers in there as well, like a bird
collecting
woodpecker. Little
I like the
blue
woodpecker. He was my favorite character.
Well, I wasn't the person that put you there.
Unless that was the woodpecker.
And why did you settle on funnel web? Did you just look up nasty Australian spider?
Yep, that's exactly what I did.
Yep, that's fair.
So I'm sorry that they don't actually live in a tree. I didn't really think about it to that extent.
They very well may, because all we really know is they like dark holes. And typically we talk about that as on the ground, but I haven't looked into whether or not you can find them in trees.
Yeah, I just needed a creepy crawly that was pretty nasty that you wouldn't want to touch. So, yeah, so that's why I looked at that. And also to play with the fear element as well. So I just wanted I just had the ideas of what I wanted, the elements, and then I did that first and then just did the puzzles after that. So they were definitely secondary.
For what it's worth, out of however many funnel web spider species there are 2 Australian funnel web spiders that predominantly live in trees. So you're all good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even bother trying to make it true to life. That's the beauty of an escape game, especially an audio.
Yeah, absolutely. What am I going to do? Tell you no?
That wouldn't be in a tree. I don't stop the game.
The weirder part is having a funnel web and a woodpecker in the same tree. Where are we? I assume we don't have woodpeckers, do we? I've only seen. I don't think anywhere in the world actually has woodpeckers. They're just in cartoons, right?
Yeah, they're
Oh, we do. No, I hear them on my walk. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. We
That's
do.
adorable. Oh my god, I have to go back to where you live.
They make a really cool noise. And you can always hear them. You can't see them.
They help you make your way home because they kind of hammer out left, up, down, down, left, right. Oh, thanks, woodpecker. Now I know how to get home.
That's really exciting. I'm sure, like, to someone who hears them constantly, it's just one of those funny little things, like when we go to America or anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, basically, and I go crazy over squirrels.
Oh, God, now those, yeah, I see 10 of those a day, every day.
They're such little cute, bouncy cutes. Do you have chipmunks?
No.
Oh, I've never seen a chipmunk.
No, I haven't.
They're just squirrels without tails, right?
Yeah.
They have little tails.
Sounds so cute.
They have little
Cute,
planes
and
and they dress up like
Cheek
rescue
faces.
rangers.
Exactly.
Well, no, yeah, it was really fun. So what else was there? There was the flowers. We did the braille at the end is fun. It's nice to just have that back and forth.
And I like giving us it's a silly thing. And I know that I'm probably not as funny as I could be when it comes to this sort of thing, and that someone who is not me could do it in a much better way. But I like when we have the opportunity to, because we're doing a puzzle that is sort of long and involves communicating things like that, being able to try to say them in funny ways.
Oh, yeah, just
cool.
weird ways, like an L, backwards L with a bit missing.
Exactly. And that sort of thing. It's the bloop, bloop, bloop.
Yeah, it's fun. You get to build up a little bit of a
See how much we can communicate without actually saying stuff.
I was quite impressed that you said, this just goes to show how well you guys know each other, but you just said the Tetris piece that you hate the most, and he knew what you were talking about. I was like, whoa.
I almost went for I saw the first thing you said Tetris piece.
That
I saw the
one
one that was like the full side and then one in the middle, and thought, wait a minute,
no,
that's the Tetris piece
everyone's.
you love to
Yeah,
get.
that's the favorite.
That's great.
The worry was that you'd find one that was, the flipped version of the one that I was after, but
yes,
I
true.
trusted you.
Yeah, no, it was good.
There was
It kind of all came together nicely. It took us way too long to think of blood being a pigment.
That's true. I did
we had
feel
plants
foolish
for a pigment, but we'd already used those, so it's one of those ones where like a lot of our problems or a lot of our attempts that didn't pan out were the sort of ones where if they did pan out, it would be a bit bad. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, our things that failed, it was good that they failed.
Like reusing the flowers would have been a bit bad.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really want to reuse the flowers.
And
if the answer had been the number of sides of these shapes without any hinting, that would have been a little bit bad.
It wouldn't have been as good as it was,
without hinting, would have been a bit,
Yes.
So it's kind of like as soon as you attempt it, and then as soon as you get the no, you're kind of like, oh, good. Like, I'm glad. Like,
absolutely.
That would have been bad. I'm glad it's not a bad puzzle.
Was there anything that we did that was substantially different from playtests?
So Bill climbed the tree before he needed to, which nobody's done that before.
It was a cool tree.
And that was okay. That was okay though, because not all of the spikes were there, so there was no way it could have broken it.
It wasn't even that betrayal of like, well, actually, now that you look again, it was actually a different thing to look at.
Yeah.
So that was perfect.
Yeah, I that was actually one of the things that I was just like, oh, but yeah, he can climb a tree and it's absolutely fine because not all the spikes are out. Well done, Gemma. It wasn't intentional, but yeah, that's it. That worked. I absolutely loved, and this again, not intentional at all, but you did find a clue that wasn't meant to be, and that was the reds in the pigment, the little.
Oh, that was
rhyme.
clever the way you said that.
And
you sort of giving us the things where anytime we did something associated with red because of that, you went, yeah, you get a feeling. Yeah, that something is right about this.
Yeah, well, as soon as Bill said, "Oh, there's red" at the end of each sentence, I was like, "Is there? Oh my god, that's amazing!"
That is funny.
But it was funny also because when you were stuck a little bit, and it was before Bill had checked his own pockets, you said, "Oh, I'll just get my mobile phone out of my pocket," and then I was like, "Yes."
I was thinking I should check pockets. And so I made the mobile phone joke and then never thought to continue on with that thought and check pockets.
Yeah. That was actually when we found the shapes in my right-hand pocket. That was when I thought you were being generous to me. And that if you were feeling a bit meaner, you could have just waited for me to say, oh, well, he checked his pockets, I'll check my pockets.
Ah, no, that bit was, that was how it was written.
It would have taken me a long while to do it, so thank you.
Yeah, well, you still, I don't know, it sort of backfired a little bit because when I went ahead and just described that your hand just fell to the floor and then you found a shape, and then rightly you kind of think, okay, so I'm done with my right hand, but you weren't, so you still could feel around with
that's
it on your own, and then you would have found the braille. So
although to be fair, I think that would have happened the other way around as well. Like if we had used if like Danny had freed her right hand and used it to find the braille, we would have then not thought to check our own pockets.
Yes, yeah.
Because like I'm done with the right hand. So that is an interesting one to balance, because you're right. Like as soon as you've done one thing with it, you want to check it off and move on.
Yeah. And I don't know if you find that, Danny, but sometimes you have to give a little bit of extra narrative to move the story along, like I did there, because I didn't expect you to use your right hand twice to find two different things, so I had to kind of give one to you. but then you risk the same scenario.
I have absolutely had it happen many times and am yet to do anything to solve the problem of 2 things that need to be further inspected in the one area and like putting too much focus on the second one so everyone completely forgets that the first one ever existed or that there was another option to go on. So yes, very much a thing that I can understand.
Yeah, that's tricky.
It is a hard.
But hey, you handled it well. I didn't notice anything out of place with how that went.
Good.
No.
My only problem is that I've still got an onion leaf and I haven't done anything with it.
Oh yeah, I was going for chives with that one.
That makes sense.
But yeah, like I said, that literally only changed for you guys. It was going to be mint and lemongrass.
And
I wonder if you could play with still having the lemon. I was just about to say, I wonder if you could still have lemongrass with the response being, that's not real citrus.
Well,
it's not a lemon. It's lemongrass.
Hang on. I have to remember now. Because you didn't. Did you listen to our live show at Recon?
No.
Because there is a puzzle about using various scents to get rid of various bugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was quite familiar.
Right.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah, with the different...
We had some ants and we needed a scent to get rid of them, but then the scent to get rid of ants attracts wasps,
so
and
you
so you got to get rid of that.
scent to get rid of the wasp. Yeah, that was great.
It's like a logic puzzle that's not a logic puzzle. It's just lots of bugs bothering you. So yeah, that felt very reminiscent of that. So we used, I know that I had something lemony somewhere in that one.
I'm sure.
But then not the other scents. So I was, okay, on my notes for that episode, I just have lemon. I was all ready to defend it, saying, whoa, no, lemongrass totally counts, because I thought I might have used lemongrass.
It was just lemon. Oh, wonderful. Well, that was a great way to end the guest
It is
Game
the end,
Master
isn't it?
season. There's a Christmas room next week.
Uh-huh. And then, we're going to say what we're doing next. We might do a little bit of something in the holidays, but then we're just going into a shiny new season.
We will be a shiny new season, and I think it's going to be another standalone season,
yeah,
but of Danny Rooms.
We are going out of the ordinary for this. I haven't written non-arc rooms in a while, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to a regular season 1 style thing.
Yeah,
just
a
with
normal
better notes.
standalone season of Danny Rooms. And
Hopefully
then I think
better everything.
I think possibly a connected arc after that.
Maybe.
We'll have
it's going to be a whole year of me.
Yeah, guest
with
rooms in
guest
a different
rooms
format. So we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, we can scatter guest rooms in a bit more like at regular intervals rather than as one huge second half of the year chunk.
Yeah, but we'll have to figure out what we're doing and where to place them. But I think that'll be the form for next season.
Yeah, that's the plan. So I think we should say a big thank you, not just to everyone who has listened to this season. Thank you so much to all our guest GMs. You're putting in a remarkable amount of work and, well, let's be honest, making things a lot easier for me.
True.
Thank you.
But yes, so yeah, as aside from just Gemma, but thank you so much, Gemma, for that room.
You gave us a good,
phenomenal.
strong finish.
But yeah, everyone from this season has just been wonderful. It's been really a lot of interesting. We had some like stuff early on where we were pirates for like 4 episodes in a row with different types of pirates, which was wild. But yes, it was fantastic. We kind of risk a lot going into these because we don't we can't see the rooms beforehand.
Yeah.
So we can't vet them for like, is this a good room? Is this a bad room? We just sort of play them, and
it just so happens that you guys are all really good.
You're all very talented, and you've given us great rooms to play all season, which has been wonderful and makes me feel better because if it was a bad room, I would have had to say to someone like, oh, I'm sorry, we won't publish this episode. But that hasn't happened, which is great. I don't know what I would do in that situation. So I'm glad
is that why we're going to not do one big chunk next year because we're worried we're pushing our luck?
Yeah, one day someone's going to give us a terrible room. We'll have to be like, oh no.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I just sort of wonder, could that happen? Or
of course
are we self-selecting enough?
What if none of these? What if every single one of these locks on these box, they were all just a 4-digit combo? None of them were marked any differently, so you didn't know which one you unlocked with any combo. And
That is actually, you know what? That's a bloody good point that we didn't discuss. There are multiple 4-digit locks in this one, and we never got confused. We were never unsure about which one we were dealing with at any given time.
Different distances.
That is something.
It's great. It's important, and you did it very well.
That's because I hate rooms that are just 20 locks, and you just have to try every lock. That's the worst thing. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's just not fun.
You should always know where you need to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't notice until right now that happened exactly as planned. So good on you.
Yeah, we did a room once where every lock was a 4-digit code, and we found a bullet that had a 4-digit code on it, and there was a big drawer marked ammo, and I thought, there you go, we found the bullet with the code, we got an ammo drawer. Didn't work.
Ugh.
It was a different random drawer, and then later on we found that all of the 4-digit codes are on bullets, and they're all strewn throughout, and that didn't mean anything.
That was not easy to know where we were supposed to be doing.
Horrible.
But yeah, so thank you so much for bringing us the room. It was fantastic. For people who want to check out your podcast, Gem the GM, do you want to give them a rundown of where they can find that?
Sure, yeah. So it's Gem the GM, and you can find it anywhere that you listen to podcasts. So just search it on iTunes or Spotify, or it's published with Anchor, so you can listen to it directly there as well.
Wonderful.
And you can find me on Facebook. Just search Gem the GM.
And she's very friendly.
Wonderful. Yeah, so there'll be links to that below as well, but definitely check it out. Even if you want to just, like, as a starting point, if you think, I love Escape This podcast.
Thank you.
I don't know if I want to talk about Game Master stuff until I really know the person, then go and listen to Gem running Children of Mysaris, and then think, wow, that's great. I should listen to more of this. And then you can listen to all of the other cool GM
And if you
stuff.
don't want to do that, just do listen to the good GM stuff, because she has good points. She's very insightful and has some great guests as well. And that's not us. That wasn't a hint. It's not like we're not the great guests. It's just actual great guests.
But yeah, so definitely go check it out. If you want to see more of what we're doing, you can go and check out Solve This Murder, our other show. Which I solve murder mysteries.
Interesting first starting point.
Well,
okay.
You can check out the stuff we do on Twitch, or we've played through every single Nancy Drew game and all that sort of stuff. There's links to all that below. And if you want to help support the show and support the network and what we do, you can check out our Patreon. You can donate. Anyone at any donation level has a chance to appear as an NPC in one of Danny's rooms or in one of the Solve This Murder episodes.
Next year, we're going to get a whole bunch of NPCs
There's a lot of extra rooms next year, so this is the time to sign up. For $5, you get all the bonus episode, all the 2-minute mystery solving that we do, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, the play tests, the Remember This podcast from this season, the time we designed an entire Egypt-based room with a bunch of guest designers from last season. Lots of fun stuff. So check that out. And then there's badges for our $10 donors, and it's just a really great way to help support the show. If you can't support on Patreon, don't worry. Just go tell a friend about the show. Spread the word. If every single one of you got one friend to listen, double our audience.
Nag your other favorite podcasters to collaborate with us. Nag any celebrity that you know.
Everybody nag everyone and tell them how cool our show is. All right.
That's what people want for Christmas.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with a Christmas episode. Maybe in a fortnight.
No, next week. This is podcast.
We'll be back next week with a Christmas episode. Thank you again, Gemma, for coming on. It was wonderful to have you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and thank you, Dan, for playing so well.
Thank you for doing a lot of work this season.
I can't believe I let you out of that box. All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.